Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is April. I go by Ruby Rouge here on the YouTubes. This video is one of my favorite series on my channel, and this is Pan Your Palette, Create Your Own Palette, Shop Your Stash, Create Your Palette. We're basically wanting to use the shadows that we have to create new and exciting palettes every single month and to keep us interested in our makeup. I did skip out on this last month. I'll get into that in a little bit, but let's go ahead and get started to the fun stuff. Very first thing that we have is my palette that I have been working on panning for 2 years now. 2 years. This is my Viseart 07 Neutral Mattes, I believe. Cool mattes, wow. You would think after 2 years I would have that down pat, but nope. Okay, so we're looking good. I mean, any of you guys who have Viseart palettes, especially this Viseart palette or like this format of Viseart palette, you guys know this was a lot. This has been a lot of use and a lot of love and a lot of work. I'm really excited about where I'm at. I did not hit any new pans this month, but I definitely expanded some pans. I expanded in white. I expanded here on number 3 and I expanded on number 4. My goal was to hit pan here and here. I really honestly just didn't use this palette as much as I wanted to. I have been using this one as either eyeliner or like a crease deepening shade. I did not feel like doing either one of those things much in the last couple months. Like, it just didn't go with my looks. I didn't use eyeliner and I didn't deepen the outer third like I normally do. So that didn't happen. This shade here, I will be lucky if I hit pan in it. I'm gonna try, but I just don't like it. It is a very kind of tricky shade for me to use just because it's not for my skin tone. This is a really cool, really cool tone palette, and I have enjoyed it and I really like it, and most of the shades are definitely workable for me. But this guy here has not been, and I am borderline, maybe I should declutter it. I feel like there's somebody out there that this is the shade for. Like, there's somebody out there where this transition is perfection, but that person is not me. Moving on from this palette, that's my progress for the month, and I'm super happy with that. Okay, moving on to last month's inspiration palette, and like I said, this is for August and ended up being for August and September. This project takes a lot of work. I think any of you guys who edit photos or have ever tried to do something like this before, you know, this is a lot of work for me. And, you know, time started coming up, doing all the eye looks and creating all the eye look cards and all of that. Time started coming up and I was just like, I can't. So I really couldn't do it at the time. I hate to skip out, but what I did realize is that this palette, this is a lot of work. And for the majority of the time, I could definitely stretch this to probably 3 months. So for the end of the year, I'm going to do an October-November palette. So that's what we're going to work on today. And then I'm going to do a December palette, which is going to be like my favorites, I think. I think it's going to be like my favorite shadows for the whole year. And then starting next year, I think if I choose to do this again, which I really want to because it's been great, I'm probably going to do like a seasonal palette. So every 3 months. Let's get into what's going on here. As always, if you're curious about the layouts or any of the shadows in here, please watch last month's video for more of an explanation or a detailed look. I have to say, this might have ended up being my favorite palette of the year so far. I loved this palette. Every look I did was decent, which, you know, doesn't always happen. Every look I did was decent. All of the shadows performed amazingly and just like as I expected them to. I seriously don't think I had any complaints about any of the shadows. The color scheme worked really well. Summertime golds and bronzes are really my favorite. I love them. And I love the summer, and I'm all about that kind of sun goddess look. That is totally a look I resonate with and I really enjoy. I usually call out a few superstars for the month, but literally like every shadow was so good, I can't even think of any superstars. I mean, I I just really can't. There was nothing. The one of the most interesting shadows for me was Juvia's Place Casablanca. And that was just because it was a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I really enjoyed, and that's kind of even a stretch too, but I really did enjoy Juvia's Place Casablanca. I thought it was cool. Other than that, every single shade was just great. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get into this next palette. This is going to be the October-November palette. As per usual, when I'm creating these palettes, I like to go through my palette collection. I like to go oldest to newest to see if there's any shades that speak to me for the month. So what tends to end up in these palettes are my older shades, because obviously I want to get use out of those. Right, this is the palette that I came up with, and let's get some swatching going on. I like to do the live swatching, I think. All right, as always, the first thing I got to do is incorporate what shades from my Viseart palette am I going to do, and we're still going to try to stay in with the browns. Okay, sorry, I'm being confusing. These are just hard to swatch because they're super close to my skin tone. I do this every month. We talk about it. I mention it pretty much every month. Viseart shadows are not the best swatchers. This one is the Neutral Mattes palette, and this is my favorite orange that I have in my collection. It just checks all the boxes and is incredibly perfect, easy to use. So, you know, fall time, this is going to be in my palette. I went out of order a little bit, but I forgot this shadow and the Cool Mattes. I really like this shadow too. So now we're going into the brights, number 11. I believe it's that. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. Ooh, this is a pretty one. I really struggled with this palette. I wanted to put this one in. This is the Boheme Ribbons palette. I really wanted to put these guys in. I decided to not do that because I wanted to use some similar colors from some other palettes for a change. Because I mean, these are actually like close to getting pan because I use them so much. They're my definite favorites. But I did want to use a shadow from this palette, so I went with this one. I thought it could be, I don't know. I thought it was feeling a little bit fall, so we'll try that one this month. Next is this Koi palette. Now this one isn't one of my older palettes, but since I don't know. It's just with my Viseart palette, so I've been adding it in almost every month. Trying to get to know it. I really like this. Peachy. It's a really pretty peach. Lastly, we have the Jewels. Oh gosh, beautiful. Yeah, that's looking really fall. Really, really fall. Okay, Aries. I have to admit, I don't think I meant to put this one and the Viseart one in. I mean, they are quite a bit different, but they don't look that different on the eye. I think that was kind of a mistake, but I don't feel like correcting it right now. So we'll just go with it. Yeah, they definitely don't both need to be in there. All right, moving on to the other arm where it gets a little trickier. This palette I have not loved, and I don't know. I've been back and forth with, but I'm going to give it one more go. I'm kind of on the verge of decluttering it. If I don't love these shades this month, I think I might declutter. I feel like they swatch okay, but I don't know. I just feel like I never really love my look in the way that I want to love my look. when I use these. So this is that duochrome that I feel like everybody does. And it's honestly not my favorite, but I mean, it really, really screams fall to me. Like, so I thought that I would play with it. But yeah, this shade I ended up thinking was just a complete dud. This shade's just not as wow factory as I want it to be. So that leaves this one, which isn't my favorite idea of a shade, if that makes sense. And then this one is just kind of a normal shade. So that one's heading for the chopping block. Ooh, my MAC palette. My MAC palette is something that does get neglected, so I've definitely been trying to put in here every month at least one shade. This is Coppering, and it's sad. It's sad that it gets neglected because these shadows are actually, I mean, MAC shadows are good. You know, they really are good. And they're affordable, and they're singles. Now, they used to not be, but they are now. And this is just a random singles palette. We have Ofra Country Road. The Ofra shadows are also something I find to be, at least in these single pans, I haven't tried any of their palettes ever, but I just feel like these are kind of underrated. They're pretty nice. They're really pigmented. They have some kick up. They have, like, they're not perfect, but they're really affordable, and they're really, really nice, pigmented, and blend very, very well. The only thing that my only complaint really is that they do kick up in the pan quite a bit. But that is Ofra Country Road. I don't know if it's Country Road or West Virginia. Take me home. Country Road. Okay, now I've got that song in my head. Huda. Huda, Huda, Huda. Who you think you are? Anybody else do that cheer? This is another one I kind of want to use. If it doesn't work well, I might just dig it out of the pan. Because I had this feeling when I put it in here, I'm like, that one didn't work last time. I don't know if it's going kind of off. See how it's like, it's not wanting to blend real good. So if that one, okay, so I had to change the battery pack, but let me just tell you. So I put the fresh battery in before I started because I knew I needed a new battery. And I must have put the other battery somehow, switched them around and put the other battery back in. And then I went to change the battery when the camera died, and I somehow switched them around again and put the other battery back in, the dead battery back in. How did I do that twice? And now the cat decided to join me, so let me move the cat out. Go on, kitty. You're making too much noise. Go on. She likes to rub her head against plastic bags when you're wanting her to be quiet. Okay. So, back to Huda. I just thought this kind of rosy shade would be a good fall shade. I'm kind of regretting putting that one in there. I'm like, I bet that's not going to work. But if it doesn't, I'm going to dig it out because we're not going to keep holding on to it if it's not a good shade. Okay? We're going to move on from that. I am so close to hitting pan in this baba right here. I want to hit pan in it by the end of the year. At the end of the year, it's got to go because it is older. Older in the sense that, like, I'm starting to not want to use it anymore. Ofra Masquerade, though. Oh my gosh, it's discontinued, but man, is it beautiful. One of my favorite purples I've ever had, used, loved. It's in their foil collection. I don't know if she made even anything similar to it, but it was a beautiful shade. So this is another, this palette is very, very hit and miss. So what I've been trying to do, which I've not made much progress on it so far, but I've been trying to work through it and see which shades I like and which shades, because some of the shades I really, really like. It's like the shades I like, I really like. The shades I don't like, I really don't like. So I kind of want to work through it, see what I want to keep and what I want to let go of. I actually put that one in my lotion and made like a shimmery lotion for the summer. But this time we're going to work on Tinker Time. I'm going to get to know Tinker Time a little bit. And yeah. Beautiful swatch. I mean, it swatches beautifully, so no complaints there. Wanted to get this shade out here because I feel like I typically think of this palette as a cool tone palette, but 1, 2, 3, these shades are definitely very warm toned. And so I never use them because I don't know, they don't get a lot of use because warm tones don't really look that great on me in the summer or in the winter. Warm tones don't really look that great on me in the winter. And cool tones don't really look that great on me in the summer. Because I think of this as a cool tone palette, I usually only reach for it in the winter and I never use the warm tone shades. Whew. That, my dears, was hard for me to get out. This crown palette, I got this, I think in a BoxyCharm or something. It was so good. I actually kept this one instead of the Naked Heat palette. I passed that one along and kept this one because I honestly, truly, 100% believed and still do that the formula of this is better than the Naked Heat palette, and they were like the same color scheme for the most part. 100% will believe that. And if you have both of them in your collection, I challenge you to test me on that. Pretty shade, that nice cocoa. I mean, that just looks like a nice hot cup of cocoa. So, I'm ready to try that shade out or play with it a little bit more. All right. I've had this Pat McGrath palette for a very long time and I never include it in this challenge. I'm ready to start hopefully adding it in a little bit more because, I mean, let's get some use out of this guy. Beautiful, beautiful gold shade, beautiful swatching, perfect fall gold. I feel like part of why I don't ever add this one in is because all of the shades I like in this, I have dupes for in older palettes. So I feel like I kind of try to get use out of those and not this one. So we're going to start trying to make a place for this one in this project so we can get some use out of it. And lastly, I have one more, and that is from the Masquerade palette. And that's going to be, who is it? Zulu. Where's Zulu? Oh yeah, this is an interesting shade for me. I don't think I'm going to like it. I have to be really, really honest. Oh, I like, just even looking at it, this is the a type of shade that I just never think looks very good on me. I wanted to play with it and kind of test that idea out. You know, and maybe even consider just removing it from the palette if I feel that way. All right, guys. So that is the swatches. Those are the swatches. All right, I don't think there's anything else I need to mention. Any questions about any of the shadows, palettes, eye looks, anything you would like to see me add in if you know I have something in my collection that I'm not using, or any colors you want to challenge me with, let me know down below. Thanks so much for stopping by and hanging out with me and enjoying this challenge with me. Let me know if you do something similar. And I will see you guys again soon. Bye!